National Science Foundation wanted to reach out across the entire country to identify ways to stimulate the economy and take science and find applications for commercialization. And we're talking about everything from space technology to lasers to essentially industrial hemp here. So I think what we've done is created an opportunity for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Number one, that we competed on a national level to win an award, and I think that's important. But number two, there's an opportunity to galvanize the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to really be an industry leader.
That's Ken Okrepkie from the Pennsylvania Industrial Hemp Engine. This is the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast. I am your host, Eric Herlock, and today we will be talking about the Pennsylvania Industrial Hemp Engine Development Project. Funded by the National Science Foundation, the project seeks to advance technology, stimulate regional economies, address societal challenges, and generate good-paying jobs. Today we're going to talk to some of the folks from the leadership team of the Hemp Engine. Tom Trite, Dr. Sairam Rudrabhatla, Kenneth Okrepkie, and David Minnig. We're going to hear all about the project, who's involved, how they got funded, what they hope to achieve, what it's going to mean for hemp and agriculture here in Pennsylvania and around the country. But first, a few words from our sponsors and then some nuggets of hemp news. This episode is brought to you in part by I&D Hemp in Fort Benton, Montana, where they believe in the goodness of hemp. I&D Hemp is a family-owned, mission-driven, and environmentally focused industrial hemp food, feed, and fiber company, providing new opportunities for farmers and rural communities. Their mission is to provide innovative agricultural products and services to connect American farmers with the pioneers and businesses that see hemp as a way to bring real and lasting change to our communities and planet. Learn more at indhemp.com. This episode is brought to you in part by King's Agri-Seeds, where they believe in the power of soil health. For over 25 years, King's Agri-Seeds has focused on crop management systems to promote diversity in soil life. For over 10 years, they've been pioneering the use of diverse rotation-specific cover crops. And for 5 years now, they've been working with the leading hemp seed providers and growers. King's Agri-Seeds' knowledge, ability, and service can make a difference on your farm. Give them a call today at 717-687-6224 or go to kingsagriseeds.com to learn more. Okay, welcome back to our show. Got a few nuggets of hemp news for you today before we get into my interview with the folks from the Pennsylvania Hemp Engine. The big news, the absolutely biggest news that I can think of, it's raining. It's raining again in Pennsylvania. So it feels like it hasn't rained here in weeks and weeks and weeks, but we're starting to get back into it. All right, but I do have some actual hemp news for you here. And just a reminder, I'm trying something new. I did this a few weeks ago where I find the news stories, I read them, and then I feed them into ChatGPT and ask the robot to write me a news summary. So that's what we're doing again this week. Let me know if this is a problem for you. I think it's really interesting and helpful, right? I'm sort of anti-artificial intelligence, except when it's beneficial. I don't know. Anyway, this first one I found on lithub.com. And the headline says, How Colorado Became Ground Zero for Hemp Production. Finn Murphy on the growth of a new cash crop in the Mountain West. And honestly, I think this is an excerpt from a book, so it's a plug for the book. But anyway, the robot says that the article tells the story of an entrepreneur who buys a farm in Colorado to grow hemp, seeing potential in the recently legalized crop despite skepticism and infrastructure challenges. The author recognizes hemp's versatility and sustainable nature, as well as the investment opportunities it offers. All right, this next story says that agricultural scientists received a USDA grant to explore hemp as a sustainable alternative to grain and animal feed. Agricultural scientists at Prairie View A&M University in Texas have received a grant from the USDA to investigate the potential of hemp biomass as an alternative to grain and animal feed. The 3-year study aims to determine the nutritional profile of hemp byproducts and their impact on goats, with the goal of reducing the use of grain and animal feed and exploring new commercial markets for hemp businesses. All right, I think goats could eat a lot of hemp. But let's not overlook the importance of hemp grain itself as an animal feed. But I digress. All right, moving on. This one comes to us from York University in England. The headline says, "New research set to increase carbon capture through cropping." The Center for High Carbon Capture Cropping will research and evaluate the potential of 4 cropping options to enhance carbon capture and storage in soil and crop-based products. The University of York's Center for Novel Agricultural Products will focus on developing industrial hemp as a versatile crop. The project aims to provide resources, demonstrations, and practical outputs to support the adoption of high carbon capture crops and promote low carbon products in various industries. The initiative is funded by DEFRA and delivered in partnership with Innovative UK, aiming to address environmental challenges and stimulate the regional economy. Yeah, even in England, they like hemp. All right, this next story comes to us from bowmanextra.com, and it says that hemp fiber market to experience rapid consumption growth between 2023 and 2032. Do I even really need to read the description of this? I think the headline is enough. Anyway, the robot summarized it like this. The comprehensive report on the hemp fiber market 2023 provides an in-depth analysis of market segmentation, dynamics, growth factors, and trends, showcasing growth figures and consumption volume while offering insights into market dynamics and price structures. Yeah, actually, I didn't need to read that. Let's just read that headline again. Hemp fiber market to experience rapid consumption growth between 2023 and 2032. All right, and let's see. Here's another one. The headline says, rivaling steel, hemp as the superior alternative. And I'm reading this in cranbournenews.starcommunity.com. And this comes to us from Australia because, yeah, down under they like hemp too. The robot summary goes like this. A motion has passed in the Australian state of Victoria, leading experts to highlight the versatility of industrial hemp, emphasizing its superiority as an industrial material, its potential to replace timber, its ability to sequester carbon quickly, and its various applications in sectors such as paper, textiles, biofuels, and food. Hemp is praised for its resistance to disease, pest control, water conservation, and eco-friendly production of industrial products, offering a sustainable alternative to reduce carbon emissions and slow down deforestation. Furthermore, hemp's air purification properties and its potential to yield a wide range of products make it a valuable resource for multiple industries. Yeah, even in Australia. All right, so that's the news from where I am here I'm actually in my home office today because they're doing some work up there in Ephrata. I guess they're putting a new floor in the basement, and I was told it was too noisy to record. So here I am back in the home studio. Anyway, I'm excited to bring you this interview today with the folks from the Pennsylvania Hemp Engine, but I do have to just a quick disclaimer. The sound quality isn't super great. I had some technical difficulties here in the home studio, and also one of our guests was calling in from what sounds like a restaurant in Portugal. So you will hear, some diner chatter and clanking of dishes. But I know you are a very forgiving audience, so I appreciate that. All right, let's get into it. All right. Well, hello and good morning to you guys from the Pennsylvania Industrial Hemp Engine. There's 4 of you, so I wonder if we could just start with introductions. Let's start with Tom.
Hello. Great to be on this podcast with you, and really look forward to making a difference in bringing all the various pieces that go into industrial hemp, from the seed to the farmer to the processor and right through to the users that are the manufacturers that will be producing products, as well as helping to reduce the carbon in the environment.
Yep, these are exciting times. Dr. Sairam?
Yeah, very excited to be here, Eric, on the podcast. Greetings from Lisbon, Portugal. That's where I'm right now. So I have to rub that in for David at least. and Ken too.
Okay, well, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm a professor of biology and chair of Department of Biological Sciences at Penn State, Harrisburg, working for the past 5 years on industrial hemp and approaching it through biotechnology.
Excellent. Kenneth.
Well, Eric, thank you very much for hosting us here today. I'm Ken Okrepkie. I'm the regional manager for Ben Franklin Technology Partners of Northeastern Pennsylvania, and I'm coming to you from Scranton, Pennsylvania. So almost as cool, or maybe cooler than Portugal, is what I would say. No, I'm happy to be a part of this NSF Engines opportunity to serve as we coordinate this effort statewide. I think my focus will really be on the investment category. So how do we identify investors that are interested in investing in all of the technologies from seed to harvesting to processing to then commercialization of industrial hemp.
Awesome. And finally, David.
Hey, good morning, Eric. Thank you for having us. Dave Minnig, I'm up by Hazleton here. I think my goal is to take Tom and Dr. Sairam's initial vision when they started working together in about 2015-16. Tom was supporting the genetic research with Dr. Sairam, got involved with Tom a couple of years ago, started working with him at PA Options, saw what their vision was to develop a sustainable supply chain in an industry in around the industrial hemp. So that's our vision here. I'm excited to be part of this and be part of a Pennsylvania initiative here, Eric.
Awesome. Well, welcome to all of you. Glad you're here. So let's first just dive in and explain to me what the Pennsylvania Industrial Hemp Engine is. What's the grand vision?
I'll let Dr. Sairam lead with that one.
Yeah, so the Pennsylvania Industrial Hemp Engine is to identify gaps through the NSF funding in the hemp industry. So we know for a fact that hemp has been only growing here in the last 5 years, 6 years, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done for this to become reality and a commodity crop just like corn and soybean. So in order to do that, there are several layers starting from genetics, producing high-yield genetics to disease-resistant varieties, leading that into the processing side, harvesting side of the technologies. And then we have proof of concept, whether it's a textile industry or whether it is bioplastics. So identifying the gaps at all phases and moving forward to phase 2 for implementation. And that's the vision of industrial hemp.
Okay, and we're just in the beginning of phase 1 at this point. So tell me about the NSF funding that you all received. How did that all come about?
Well, it was, again, back to the vision Tom and Dr. Sairam started working on. And what we felt was, we needed some avenue to try and build this out. So we decided Tom's support. Dr. Sairam, myself, the team, we wrote the NSF grant back late last year, started in July, submitted the grant and got notified in February that they were looking to fund us, asking for more documentation on our vision. And we were notified we were awarded the $1 million to start the initiative.
Nice. That must have felt pretty good.
Yeah, Eric, I'd just add to that. I mean, this is a national competition, right? The National Science Foundation wanted to reach out across the entire country to identify ways to stimulate the economy and take science and find applications for commercialization. And we're talking about everything from space technology to lasers to essentially industrial hemp here. So I think what we've done is created an opportunity for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Number one, that we competed on a national level to win an award, and I think that's important. But number two, there's an opportunity to galvanize the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to really be an industry leader in the industrial hemp commercialization of technologies that could affect not only the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but then become a model for other states across the country. So I think this is significant. I mean, it's $1 million award, which is a lot of money, but when you take a look at how it was received and the fact that we had to compete on a national scale, I think it's pretty important to the National Science Foundation, to NSF, and really has the opportunity to be important to the country.
Yeah. Is this project the only hemp-related project that the National Science Foundation is funding?
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned, building the Pennsylvania economy. What is it about Pennsylvania that can make it a great place for industrial hemp?
One of the factors is that at one time, before hemp was determined to not be allowed to be grown, Pennsylvania was one of the leading growers of hemp. And with all the farmland and the way it helps with the environment, it is a major factor in Pennsylvania that, given the right use of the product and being able to address the processing, it gives the farmers an opportunity again to be able to produce good product that then gets put into plastics, gets made into packaging, fabrics, as well as a lot of construction material. So I think it's a big opportunity for the farmers, but it's also a big opportunity to bring additional industries in and have everything right here in Pennsylvania, rather than a lot of the manufacturers are going overseas to get their product. So we want to bring it not only to Pennsylvania, but being able to utilize the United States products.
Yeah, and Tom, I would add, when you talk about the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, two of the most significant industries, in our state would be, the agricultural industry and then manufacturing. So I think we have an intersection here that creates an opportunity. We have, very fertile land all across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and we have a strong manufacturing base, and then an interest in investing in innovation. So I think we just happen to be in a very good spot. Tom talked about the history of the Commonwealth. This isn't the first time we've ever grown, industrial hemp, here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So I think the timing is very good. And I think we're geographically in a good position based on climate, and the industrial base here to take advantage of the raw material is within close proximity.
Right. And proximity to lots of people who will buy products.
Yep. That's why we're the Keystone State.
That's right.
Yeah, you can get from my office right now, you can get to 96 million people in less than 24 hours. You include half of Canada and a third of the United States population. And that's why I think Northeastern Pennsylvania, this corner of the state and down in all the way in through Harrisburg, from a distribution of product is just, we're located in a wonderful place.
So there's 4 of you on the call today, but I don't think this is the complete leadership team. Can you talk about who else is involved on a leadership level? And then we can talk about some of the other, entities that are involved.
Yeah, I'll let Dr. Sairam run through the leadership team, starting with Penn State.
So the project, Eric, is led by from Penn State Harrisburg. I'm the principal investigator from Penn State. Joining with me from Penn State are 2 agricultural engineers from State College, and we have Dr. L. Memari, who works on the processing side of it. And we also have Dr. Alicia Collins from the Northeast Experimental Station. So those are the Penn State folks. So along with that, we have Lori Daitner from the processing, Cynthia also from the farming side of it, and then Ken Okrepkie leads the innovation and transformation into the Pennsylvania industry, and we all these are embedded together by Dr. Rios from Penn State Harrisburg, and Dr. Adiega from Cheney University, and Dr. Roderick Lee from Penn State Harrisburg through diversity, equity, DEI IAA committee, Inclusion and Accessibility Committee. So in every aspect of this, as we are laying the foundation, identifying the gaps, DEIA is a key significant part with all of these entities. So that's the core leadership of the thing. And then we also have workforce development. Dr. Mary Lou from Lucerne County, she's involved with that as well. So
And Jeannie, Dr. Sarm.
and Dr. Jeannie Ruan is involved in the data management, big data, artificial intelligence, trying to make sure what actually after the surveys, where it is the next phase of funding should be directed. Should it be directed to the genetics, workforce development, or which processing? So the data management is a significant piece, and Dr. Jeannie Ruan from Wharton School of Business is involved with that. Thank you.
Okay, it sounds like you have a great group of people here. I'm familiar with some of those folks, and they've been on our podcast before, like Lori and Cynthia and Dr. Collins. So how does this group differ from some of the other groups like the Pennsylvania Steering Committee or the Pennsylvania Industry Council?
I think the one major area that we differ from is we've looked at this, and the industry is so splintered in their little silos. We're trying to bring those silos together to make it more efficient and also to be able to work together as a collaboration to make the whole industry a better industry and give more opportunities to more people.
Okay. Will you work with some of those other groups?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
want to
we already
communicate with all the groups.
Yeah, we reached out to them all, Eric. We've had conversations with many groups already, and are already collaborating with them.
Eric, I just want to go back to the previous question just for a bit and tying that into the economy. For example, as a spin-off out of this industrial hemp activity through Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, we know that there is a major textile, natural textile solutions that has spun off. The bioplastics is spun off by Sohail Sarus in Sunbury Farms. So these are two immediate things. We recently met with Steve, and he's planting, for example, 1.2 million seeds per acre.
Steve Groff.
Steve Groff. All of these are currently using sources from Europe, Canada, or other countries. So there you can just add up those numbers. That's the economy we are talking about. Now, going back to the previous question, how this will differ is we'll bring, like Tom said, we'll bring all the pieces together. We'll identify funding opportunities. We will make sure to include them and make sure the processing plants are built for them through the NSF funding for phase 2. We also want to extend into neighboring states such as Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, and help the farmers there. So this is a much larger initiative than anything else that is happening in the state of Pennsylvania. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Speaking about the funding, is there more funding available from the National Science Foundation, or is that sort of a one and done thing there?
So this is phase 1, and NSF has simultaneously launched another program for 36 million, which we are planning to apply. And there we want to just have proof of concept as 4 locations in each region of Pennsylvania, a processing and manufacturing kind of thing. And then we go for 160 million next year, which can build into the neighboring states.
Okay.
So we are taking one step at a time and making sure everyone is included in the program.
Excellent. You mentioned you've got plans for processing in 4 corners of Pennsylvania. Can you talk about those locations and what that processing capacity would look like?
At this point, we're envisioning that certainly in each region of Pennsylvania we will have. For example, Lancaster is a key area that we think that it should be there. Harrisburg is central, where people can shuttle. Same way, Northeast is another area. But what it would entail is what we will learn in the next 6 months, 3 to 6 months, and slowly build upon it before we understand. Because I don't believe there is a perfect understanding. Some people say it requires 15 million for a processing. Some people say 2.5 million. So we need to understand the details before we jump into what is actually required in each region based on the genetics again. So hemp is very unique. You can't take a cotton or something else and put it into hemp and use hemp. So we have to be very specific. So that's what we are doing by talking to several people in the next couple of weeks, leading to the July 7th event.
Are you looking to any other states or businesses in the U.S. as examples or leaders?
Yes. So, for example, I visited Michigan, and I visited a farm in Michigan. They are growing about 1,000 acres of hemp processing and everything. So we are trying to bring them to our July 7th event. There is a group that contacted me yesterday from Colorado that they have some machinery as well. So we will take the whatever has been worked out, those solutions as a start point, and try to figure out rather than reinvent the entire wheel.
Yeah, I would just add, Eric, I think, what this group is not doing is coming in and saying, we already know it all. We know exactly what we want to do. We're going to pretend that we're going to invite people to participate so that we can get to the end goal of where we are. I think what this group is very clearly articulated out of the gate is that we want to find the best practices. We want to find the right partners and essentially put a plan in place that can be executed in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So we don't think we know exactly how it's going to happen and what's going to happen. I think we have people who are experts. We have people who've been in this industry for a while now. So they bring exceptional knowledge, but I don't think that the plan has already been written and we know exactly who's going to participate. It's like, how do we find the best of breed opportunities? And I think it's a little bit different in each industry. I think maybe the bioplastics is a little bit different than the textiles. So this isn't a one-stop fits all, and we're just going to make this work, and then certain people are going to benefit and certain people are going to lose. I think what we want to do over the next 2 years is figure out where are the easy wins, and then how do you put the system in place, as Dave Minnig likes to say, from seed to sale, and I think he's maybe stole that from somewhere else. But we want this to go so that it can be rolled out in a collaborative way, in a collaborative manner.
Okay, what are your metrics for success?
I think the metrics for success, number one, you need a plan that's comprehensive and detailed, and you understand the return on the investment for each of these pieces, whether it's the genetics or whether it's the growing or whether it's the processing. If you don't understand the return on investment on each one of those stages, you can't engage the partners, whether it's the farmers or whether it's the scientists or whether it's the people that'll process and then transfer that onto the manufacturing. If I own a manufacturing plant and I can't see the return on investment from the raw materials from the current stock I'm using, then it's really hard to sell me on transitioning over to something that is hemp-based. So I think you need a good comprehensive plan that articulates that return on investment. I think you'll find that job creation for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania will be a good return on that investment. When all is said and done, these technologies will transfer from science into jobs that drive the economy and the commerce. So I think we'll end up, from beginning to end of this initiative, track it from science and technology through commercialization to job creation. All of those are metrics that we have to take a look at. We'll be able to see, how the farming industry is affected. To somebody's comments previously, we want to see hemp be part of the stock that's in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, from corn to soy, and then people say, and here's the impact that hemp is having across. And this won't just affect the agricultural industry, right? This transitions over into the manufacturing setting as well. So I think that there's a lot of data to be collected here. We have a data scientist as part of this team to make sure that we capture those metrics. And in the end, that will be part of the justification for the additional dollars that come in and drive this opportunity.
Okay. We know that farming is such a huge part of this. Without the farmers, there's essentially nothing. How are you sort of protecting the farmers or keeping the farmers in the forefront? How can farmers avoid getting the short end of the stick as this industry develops?
Well, I think Dr. Sairam is going to first hit on the first most important part is giving them the genetics that work. So I'll let him start with that, and we could add pieces to that, Eric.
Okay.
Yeah, so Eric, what we have been doing with the help of Mr. Tom Trite's support to Penn State Harrisburg is we have been trying to develop the genetics that have no THC, for example. That's a significant thing because there is a stigma around the entire topic of hemp cannabis. So we want to get rid of the THC, which plays absolutely no role in the fiber or in the bioplastic or any industry. So we have developed some of those genetics. We are testing them. We also want to have genetics that can be used for textiles. So, for example, they should have the correct tensile strength, the cell wall, and all of that. So these are the characteristics we are introducing through gene editing, CRISPR gene editing, which is a biotechnology tool, and it is not a GMO. This is clearly gene editing is out of the GMO, and those are the techniques we are using. So we also have selenium enriched hemp varieties with no THC right now. So we are trying to get the right genetics for the market, and that's how the farmer can be convinced. We also have developed, for example, a gender assay test. Within a gender assay, which means a male or a female, a bag of seeds most often may have 40 to 50% of males. So within a week, we can clip a leaf and do a simple PCR-based assay and confirm to the farmer, this is male, this is female. It avoids a lot of trouble for them, trying to grow them and then figuring out how to bag them or rogue them and all of that. So these are the things that we have been working. So now we are more focused on the industrial side of it, trying to make sure we get the long 6-foot fiber so that could be used into a textile. So what do we need to do? We need to do some expansions. Expansions are present in a cell wall, and we need to increase them so the cell wall gets enlarged, and so you get larger fibers. So that helps the textile solution. So those are the things that we have started working on. But none of this, again, would have happened without Tom investing in 2015-16 into all of this. So thank you.
Yeah, I think, and so what Dr. Sairam just articulated is that's the front end of protecting the farmer to growing a product that will grow in the right way and serve the purpose on the backside. I think the second thing we need to do as part of this plan is make sure that there's a marketplace for the products that they're planting, right? So this isn't a, hey, we've got a genetic code that will produce a product that looks and acts a certain way, but we also need to make sure we identify the end user that's going to actually take the raw material. And then there's a revenue stream for the farmer as they grow the product. So I think that's why we're looking at this from an all-encompassing perspective. It's not just one side of the equation or the other. We need to take a look at all of the perspectives and make sure that the right details put in place so that you can get the right plants that Dr. Sairam's talking about from a genetics perspective, but then you can harvest it the right way, you can process it the right way, and then at the end of that, there's somebody who will buy the product. That's how you ensure the safety of the farmer. Any one of these pieces by themselves is a point of failure that does not protect the farmer. So, and I think that's part of the benefit of having this team that's coming together from my perspective.
Eric, just add one piece to that. The middle piece is significance of us having meetings with people like Steve Groff and Jamie and all these farmers. What are the challenges on the equipment side they're facing, right? So identifying those, that's the middle gap for the farmer. So whether it's harvesting equipment, rakes, whatever that is. So that's significance of us having each one of these leadership teams that can meet with those industry folks, find out their challenges, and that's what we're looking to plug.
The other piece that's involved here is in order to attract the manufacturers, we have to make sure we have the processing to produce it. But even more importantly, we have to make sure we have the right strains with the right characteristics of the fiber, because each of these industries need a little difference in the type of fibers and everything to better utilize in their manufacturing. So some of these, the farmer will know what strain he's growing, what characteristics, and for what manufacturer. And that also assures the manufacturer that they're going to have product in order to produce and manufacture their materials.
Yeah, the way I understand it, it's like the farmer shouldn't plant any seeds until they know what the end use is, right?
Exactly.
And so you get the specs from the manufacturers and then backtrack that to the farmer, and then you're off to the races.
Exactly.
Okay. Is the Department of Agriculture involved as well?
So let me address that. So we have received grants from Department of Agriculture, and in addition, we have worked very closely with Deputy Secretary for Agriculture, Fred Strathmeyer. And in getting his vision, we are developing as we are moving. Fred is a part of the hemp leadership team. He's involved with the whole industrial hemp engine. And recently, we were also awarded when I say we were, as Vytal Plant Science Research, we was awarded an ag marketing grant. So we have received that. So we are conducting workshops. We are planning to conduct workshops, do brochures for state legislators, staffers. Most of them are not. Most of them will find these workshops very beneficial in understanding. So we are very much integrated with Department of Agriculture. We are even expanding to look at how to use hemp for riparian buffers, how to use hemp on abandoned mine lands. So these are some of the things. This is what Deputy Secretary Fred Strathmeyer brings to the table, and we keep on enlarging our research scope. So
let's try that again. Is there an investment opportunity here for people, or how can people get involved with the Pennsylvania Industrial Hemp Engine?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just start with this one. I think there is an opportunity to invest. I think in any one of these threads, right? When we talk about the science and the genetics, when we talk about because those strains are eventually going to be commercialized. When we talk about the technology around the harvesting, when we talk about the commercialization of this technology, in a manufacturing environment, and any part of that continuum, you have an opportunity for investment. So part of my job as the chair around this kind of investment strategies will be I look at it almost as a two-pronged process. Number one, we need to figure out what the opportunities are. Where is the best return on investment for an investor? Because although people are philanthropic in nature, partially, when they decide to invest dollars, they want a return on that investment. So we need to take a look and see where the best opportunities are. And then secondarily, and meaning the technologies or the genetics or the equipment. And then secondarily, we need to figure out where are the people who are interested in investing, whether they're angel investors that do this for themselves and their families, or whether we're talking about venture capital or private equity groups. So, part of this committee's goal is to, identify the opportunities for investment and then identify the investors that believe this is a fertile ground for getting a return on their investment. So we'll be taking a look at both and be welcoming anyone interested in participating in that conversation.
Okay. How about opportunities for entrepreneurs or other folks in the hemp industry? Can they reach out to you and I don't know, for funding or advice, or like how do you see your group interacting with the larger community?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, what we'll do is put a vehicle in place, and a communication tool in place so that we can promote that opportunity is out there. And maybe at some point in time, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania creates a fund. We'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. So as part of remember, this is a planning grant. So as part of that, I think that'll be one of the deliverables that I'll have for my committee is what is the vehicle that allows people, entrepreneurs, to then say, I'm interested, or I have a technology that should be looked at. That's essentially what my organization does on a regular basis, right? We vet technologies across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and then invest in the commercialization that eventually leads to job creation. So I would believe that that's going to be part of the deliverables that I'll be responsible for the committee that I'm chairing.
It seems like industrial hemp can touch like almost every other industry, right? And at this point, we need solutions that pull carbon out of the atmosphere. And it just seems like this is it. It seems perfect. It seems almost too simple, but it's not. This is the way to go here. So I guess what I'm saying is your timing is good, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're doing. Just take over and explode here in the Commonwealth.
Yeah, Eric, I'll make one comment on that. You're absolutely right. Industrial hemp is the best source right now for carbon capture. It will be a remiss if I don't mention this. Emory University, Eri Saikawa, is involved with me in this industrial hemp engine, looking at carbon sequestration practices, all of these models in the planning grant. So there is a subcontract from Vytal Plant Science Research to Emory University, and they have received millions of dollars to work on various crop species. Industrial hemp happens to be their first one, so they are actively involved with us.
Okay, great. So what else should people know about the Pennsylvania Industrial Hemp Engine?
Well, Eric, there is platforms for learning about it. Starting today, so you can identify if you're in the industry. Every couple of days, we're going to post about one of our leaders, whether it's Ken, Dr. Sairam, and you can check that out. It's on LinkedIn under our page, and you'll be able to identify if you're in the industry, maybe who you should be communicating with if you're out there and want to know more or feel that's your area of expertise you want to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can identify with one of those leaders, reach out to them to see how you fit into this engine, what you bring to the table. So I think we're using different platforms to get that message out and communicate. So, just to let your audience know that.
Yeah, and let's put all of the links to all of those different platforms on the show page for this episode so they can find everything in one place. So
okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And also to the websites.
Yep.
I think, Eric, I'd just add, I think there's an opportunity here for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the country. We're at you couldn't grow hemp for a long period of time. So there's a group of people here who believe that this will have a significant opportunity for a variety of industries, whether it's carbon sequestration or bioplastics. There's a significant opportunity, and we would just encourage anyone that's listening to you or to this podcast to reach out to us and be a part of what we believe will be at the forefront of a holistic approach to making sure that this industry doesn't have a false start. Right. I think there are a lot of people with a lot of great ideas, and I think people have been in their silo trying to figure out, what was important to them. And I think we're trying to look at this from a global perspective, and we have an opportunity to be at the forefront of this industry as it almost has a restart in the United States of America.
Excellent. Are there certain things that you're looking for in the 2023 Farm Bill that would help your endeavor tremendously?
I'm not an expert on the Farm Bill, but I think there's been restrictions on what plants can be grown and can't be grown across the country, right? And so legislative action that makes this industry on the industrial side, really grow, I think would be beneficial to all.
Right. I'll just take an opportunity, step on my soapbox here, but there's the 2023 Industrial Hemp Act that's in the Senate and the House right now. And they're hoping that gets into the Farm Bill, but that would essentially exempt growers of fiber and grain from having to do background checks, having to get the in-field testing for THC levels. It would basically cleave the two sides of the hemp industry, which I think needs to happen. We need to have industrial on one side and cannabinoidal medicinal stuff just in a separate bucket. So if this exemption goes through, I think it's going to benefit what you're doing and everyone else in the industrial space.
Yeah, it's clear that we're focused on the industrial side.
Yeah,
so.
Good. Is the work you're doing, does it threaten other industries? Are there any other industries out there that might not be super psyched about what you're doing? And I guess I'm thinking about the oil companies.
I was just going to say that would be the one.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any communication between, with oil folks? Like, it feels like they might want to invest, but then again, they might want to come in and thwart what you're doing. I don't know.
I think eventually they will want to invest, but initially, I think they achieved that with the 80 years that we couldn't grow it in this country.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us? We'll sort of wrap it up here and let you get back to your busy schedules.
I would say, Eric, that if there is ever a mandatory carbon capture or carbon sequestration for all the industries, then I think hemp should not be a threatening thing to anyone. It will benefit every single industry. I would end on that note myself. So thank you.
Amen to that. Thank you.
And we are looking to collaborate with lots of people. So anybody that has something that they think could be useful, we invite them to contact us and work with us to really accomplish what we plan on doing and creating a very viable industry that is certainly very friendly to the environment.
Okay. What is the website again? If you can just mention the URL.
It's abbreviated for the Pennsylvania Industrial Hemp Engine, PAIHE.org, and also Vytal Plant Science. So it's Vytal Plant Science Research.org also, are the two websites. But and then the LinkedIn page is under the Pennsylvania Industrial Hemp Engine.
Okay, great. And we'll post those links. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. Last chance for final words. Kenneth, anything you want to add?
I would just say thank you, Eric, for giving us a platform and an opportunity to talk about, what's happening here. Would thank the folks at the NSF for investing in us and the legislative support we've received from other folks, Congressman Cartwright's team and others. So I think this is going to be a bipartisan initiative that is good for a variety of different industries and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania as a whole, really serving as a leader for the United States in this industry. That's our goal and hope.
All right, there you go. The Pennsylvania Industrial Hemp Engine. My thanks to Ken, Tom, David, and Dr. Sairam for joining me here today. I'm excited for all the opportunity that this is bringing to the state of Pennsylvania. All right, so that does it for me today. My name is Eric Herlock. I am the digital editor at Lancaster Farming newspaper, the greatest agricultural newspaper in the world. Check us out online at lancasterfarming.com, and be sure to check out the show page for this episode for links to the Pennsylvania Industrial Hemp Engine, as well as those news stories we talked about at the beginning of the show. So, all right, until next time, I'll see you in the funny papers.
Industrial hemp.
Season 3, Episode 22 of the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast is copyright 2023 by Lancaster Farming Newspaper, part of the Steinman Communications family. Today's show is written and recorded, edited and produced, with a little help from ChatGPT, by Eric Herlock. And the music you hear throughout the show is courtesy of Tin Bird Shadow. All right, and a special treat for those of you who listen all the way past the credits. Here is a Shetland fiddle tune that I'm going to play on the baritone ukulele. It's written by Tom Anderson, and it's called "The Old Resting Chair."